Deep within the shadowed lands of the Seduan demon sect, a dark and deadly world waits to unfold. Xiaomu is trapped in a room with a strange woman, and he's frantically pleading with her to let him leave right now. The captor laughs at his plea and keeps him pinned to the ground. She smiles and tells him that today is their wedding day, and that he is now her husband in this forced marriage. She asked him if he had the guts to leave his partner alone in that empty, silent room. The main character insists he has traveled from another world and finds the strange, pointless mess utterly baffling. As she acts like his wife while living in her own crazy world, the victim knows this obsessed woman is definitely not his real partner. A year ago, our hero was reborn as a nobleman on the brink of marrying a princess. He barely realized a cruel gang was waiting to drag him down right as he was about to reach the top of his life. The poor guy sighs, knowing that being taken prisoner was just the start of a much worse nightmare. The villain reveals that the young man's sun-powered body is the perfect fuel for her magical arts. No one cares about the fate of a simple servant disciple, so he stands utterly alone in this terrible situation. Once captured, they are treated like a tool to help them grow stronger and reach new heights in their cultivation. She pushes him to get excited while the poor boy takes a beating and loses all his strength. The hero has reached the very edge of his strength and is slowly fading away from sheer exhaustion. He screams in desperation, refusing to let his journey end and begging for just a moment more. She tightens her grip on his neck, telling him she's honored to be the one to end his life, then holds up a pill and demands he channel its power to wake up his unique body. The manipulator warns that her mystic art is about to evolve and demands he stop holding back the pure energy inside him. Then she shoves the pill down his throat, and he starts feeling terrible while fighting to catch his breath. She says his sacrifice is worth it if he helps her grow, but the young man shouts, begging to be let go. She pushes him to try his hardest while he mourns the fact that he's about to die for her without ever truly living. The hero squeezes his fist until his knuckles turn white, vowing never to accept this fate and never giving up. Suddenly, a blue screen flickers into view, sensing his fierce will to survive and awakening a hidden system. He grips the glowing sphere while the screen tells him that any gift he makes can earn rewards worth up to 10,000 times. Xiaomu sees his moment to flip the script, so the system hands him a reward for the wait. The wicked woman remarks that his body tells the truth, even when his words try to lie. The young man gives a confident smile, calls her a wicked woman, and says he'll satisfy her even though it means letting go of his pride. The hero catches her off guard with a shocking surprise, but the villain snaps back and begs her husband not to hold back during her training. Since the sky gave him a shot, our hero decides to seize it and take charge of his own future. He then sinks his teeth hard into her shoulder, proving he is the one calling the shots now. She presses back into his hand, claiming that spot as his alone for the night. Then the view moves outside to a lovely lake with a wooden bridge right beside it. The next morning, Xiaomu lies exhausted in bed but beaming with satisfaction over last night's training, remarking that his performance wasn't bad even with just a little power, while the woman slips out the window and promises to return for more fun if he survives, only for the drained boy to suddenly open his eyes with a terrifying victorious grin as a golden aura explodes from him, prompting the system to announce he has reached the 10th level of chi refinement and leaving him wondering if this is the power of his newly awakened sacred body. He knows that showing off is a bad idea right now, so he stays quiet to keep himself safe in this dangerous place. The demon sect is packed with powerful masters, and if they find out his secret, he will suffer a fate even worse than before. That's why he must use this lonely time to build his strength fast before anyone else arrives. He believes that spirit stones are a must-have, and with his sacred body, he could land even more secret missions. But the young man quickly realizes he now has a system to guide him, so he must start thinking about something far greater than just that. Also, most older sisters aren't wealthy, so they can only offer a handful of spirit stones as payment. The young man then starts to wonder if there's any other way to get spirit stones fast. He stares with a fierce look, showing he has finally figured out how to fix his money trouble. In that moment, he remembers Wang Chan, an outer disciple of the Huan sect who once helped him. Now that Wang Chan helped him join the sect, he finally has a chance to pay that kindness back. He set to hand over the 200 stones he saved, hoping the system will reward him with a big return. Our hero tosses the small bag of stones at his old friend, and the sudden crash startles him. Wang Chan snatches the item, unsure if those are truly the precious spirit stones he has been desperately searching for. He beamed with joy, believing his hard work had finally touched someone's heart and earned him stones to strengthen his training. Instantly, a warning flashes that his gift of 200 stones has triggered a massive 500 times return, sending a shower of crystals worth 100,000 stones crashing down on him as he gloats that he's gotten rich too easily. But he soon sees that triggering the 10,000 times return would give him 2 million spirit stones. He then wonders if he can use the system stones to donate them again and trigger a new reward. Just as Wang Chan stands frozen in shock, a huge pile of spirit stones suddenly crashes down on him from the sky. Wang Chan stands stunned by the hail of rocks, but is grateful that a kind noble has come to help him. The boy pledges to his mysterious helper that he will work twice as hard to grow stronger and never let him down. Xiaomu notices the system stays silent and decides that tricking it with rewards won't work. As he lost himself in thought, a familiar voice called out to him, snapping him back to reality and addressing him as junior brother Zhao. A woman holding a sword shows up, shocked he's still alive, and the hero realizes she is Lu Qiao. He drops to one knee in a quick bow to show his respect and speaks to senior sister Lu with great politeness. The girl, a fellow disciple who learned the 9 shadows like her captor, once cared for the boy but stopped visiting him after Chu Jiran threatened her. Lu Qiao boasts about his cultivation and claims his body is tougher than she thought. Then she suddenly grabs his hand and tells him to stop talking for a while. She tells him that Chu Jiran is going into seclusion, so he has to help her practice her powers while she's away. The swordswoman calls down a massive blade and tells the young man to hop on so they can flee the spot. The protagonist slips behind her on the sword and the girl turns red as he tells her to slow down. The cultivator notices his aura has changed and wonders if he gained any real benefits from Chu Jiran. The boy lets out a long sigh and tells the story of how the other woman only takes from him and never gives back anything. Lu Qiao warns him that demons are evil and if he keeps with the other one, he will die empty of energy. The girl promises to challenge her rival once she gets stronger, and if she wins, he'll follow her from then on, getting closer until she complains about it while Xiaomu wonders what she meant. They soar on their sword to the inner demon sect, a place far more lavish than the last. The woman tells him she's ready to move forward and promises to hand him a vitality pill if he helps her out. Xiaomu grins with a wicked idea while the woman slips into a flower-filled wooden tub to get ready for her big breakthrough. She takes a deep breath and declares that this time, no one can stop her from growing stronger. Suddenly, the boy's voice startles her from behind as he asks exactly what she should do. As he climbs into the tub and she feels nervous, he reminds her that time is precious, and together they find a way to make it fly by. He wraps his arms around her from behind and tells her they can start their training right now. As they work the soil together, he marvels at her magical skills, and she admires his powerful pure yang nature. The water ripples while the two keep pushing their energy exchange and training to the limit. Once the session ends, the young man is so shocked by how amazing her art is that she playfully splashes water on his red face, shouting that he doesn't need to say anything, before sadly telling him she's getting married next month to a guy named Long Tianxiang, a name the boy recognizes instantly. This man is a legendary genius who became a nascent soul before his 30th birthday and is now famous everywhere. Our hero panics, fearing that if a powerful man finds out, he'll be doomed. But Lu Qiao soothes him by revealing that her fiancé has been hurt in the wrong places and can't be intimate anymore. Then she steps closer and asks him if he truly believes she would give herself entirely to him if she didn't like him. Xiaomu feels his heart warm up to the senior sister's confession, and suddenly he sees her in a brand new light. So, they throw themselves into the moment and share a deep, fiery kiss. The scene ends with the two staring deep into each other's eyes, proving the powerful bond that just lit up between them. He says they should push forward, but Lu Qiao calls him a fool. Outside under the bright daylight, a beautiful garden filled with bamboo and rocks sets the scene before shifting to the next day, where an exhausted girl sleeps soundly in bed, while a boy nearby awakens with a golden aura glowing around him after advancing to a powerful new stage, leaving him fearless even against mighty foes and sparking a new plan as he wakes her to claim her promised reward for helping him cultivate. He sinks to the floor and rushes to sharpen every bit of power rushing through his veins. As he meditates, the pill's energy fills him and wraps him in a giant golden flame. As Lucky wakes up and grumbles about the stink, the protagonist agrees he's got to take a quick bath right now. As soon as his hand touches the wooden door to step outside, he can still feel the intense heat of his powerful energy burning through him. Soon after, he takes a bath to wash away the stink and dirt from his skin. The girl walks into the bathroom and is shocked to see he has already started building his foundation. She reaches out to him and asks if he took another pill, because his body looks too clean to have reached that stage without it. Inside, the boy feels tight and worried because it would be super hard to explain where he found such a rare pill. To throw her off, he claims they made progress together and teases her for not having advanced yet. He then offers to help her one more time for free, saying he didn't try hard enough. She calls him crazy, but he insists he just wants to push forward as fast as possible, and a moment later, she's back in bed, utterly drained with her eyes rolled back. Xiaomu waves goodbye as the system cheers that his pure yang energy has tenfold, and after stepping away, he finds his body light as a feather, smiling to himself that a flying sword now means he can fly anywhere he pleases, while the bustling outer sect market buzzes with cultivators around him. There, our hero is buying a sword from a box, and the seller thanks him. The legendary Star Slayer sword, forged from meteor iron that can soak up energy, costs 30,000 spirit stones and is exactly what he's been waiting for the system to return. But a booming voice suddenly yells, "Pretty boy," dragging him back from his thoughts as a giant horned man and his men surround him, revealing themselves to be Nu Tai and his followers. This fellow is an outsider disciple and a suitor of Shu Jaren's who has caused him trouble before. Nu Tai carries the bull demon's bloodline, making him the perfect test for our hero to prove just how strong he's become. The big guy grabs him and asks if he's been meeting with senior sister Shu lately. Zhao Mu grabs the man's wrist with his burning hand and demands to know what's wrong. The opponent gets mad at the boy's boldness and winds up a punch, his fist glowing with a red aura. He screams at the young man to face his fate before charging forward with all his might and burning rage. The aggressor was shocked when the hero stopped his hard punch with just one hand. With a grin, he says he wants to live and have fun with Chu, leaving Nu Tai shocked that he just leveled up, only for the bull man to snap with fury and roar that gaining a level doesn't make them equal before unleashing a storm of powerful punches. Our hero sidesteps every blow with a laugh, joking that his opponent isn't moving fast enough. He feels his holy body is amazing because it lets him easily fight one of the top 100 strongest warriors. Zhao Mu shouts that the joke is over and catches the next punch, leaving the giant stunned by his power. He raises his fist, burning with golden fire, ready to end the battle with one powerful strike. In a split second, he lands a crushing blow right to his rival's face, leaving no time for the man to react. As Nu Tai crashes to the ground in defeat, his men fall into a panic, staring in shock at how quickly the boy grew so strong. A follower threatens the boy, and he recalls that he can't leave enemies behind in the sect. With a grin, he tossed his new flying sword at the man who dared threaten him, and the blade pinned the follower's clothes to a pillar, leaving him absolutely terrified. The hero claims the sword is worth 30,000 stones, which should cover the medical costs. Right away, the system rewards him with 1,000 returns simply because he gave up a tier 2 sword. As a reward, he receives a 5th tier flying sword, yet he hardly looks happy about his new prize. As the young man stares them down, the other 2 followers grow furious and ready to strike. The men, full of courage, charge at him with their weapons, but the boy doesn't seem to care at all. With a cruel grin, he promises no mercy, unleashing a mighty presence to crush them forever. Suddenly, a ring of blue energy bursts out from him and strikes both enemies at the same time. The henchmen hit the ground in pain, screaming and wondering who had jumped them so quickly. Suddenly, a woman with a red sword jumps out and yells that they have no right to complain. Mu Jilin claims she saw them strike first. Then she stands before the hero with her floating sword in hand and scolds him for being so careless with his enemies. The swordswoman warns him to kill them all now so he avoids trouble later. But the men get mad at her rude attitude and demand to know who she thinks she is to talk like that. She steps forward, a dark mist swirling around her, and says her name is Mu Jilin while challenging them to have any problem with it. When they heard the name, the 2 thugs froze in terror, completely lost on what to do. They bolt away, pointing the finger at their boss, while the girl snaps that they're cowards as they vanish from her view. Next, she points to the protagonist and declares it's his turn, leaving him thoroughly confused. The girl steps forward and suddenly presses him against her body without giving any warning. She tells him that everyone says her name will be important in his future, so he must remember it. With that, she claims that if his journey ends, she will have no one to marry, leaving him completely speechless. The boy grins, convinced that since he joined the sect, she's only been watching him because she wants his looks, not his power. He recalls that Mu Jilin from the Steel and Demon sect is deadly, yet Zhao Mu pinches her cheek, wondering how anyone could guess such a cute side exists. She promises that her future husband will stay safe, but he says it isn't quite that simple to just pass away. The swordswoman grabs his hand and drags him through the busy market until they reach a quiet, safe spot. Suddenly, she lifts him into the sky, soaring with a glowing red aura and no sword needed at all. The protagonist was stunned because flying without a sword is a trick only the strongest masters can pull off. He then starts to wonder just how strong that mysterious and powerful girl really is. They soar fast toward a lonely mountain house, a silent spot far away from everything else. As soon as he arrives, he senses the strong spiritual energy and wonders if this is the sect's holy ground. The girl invites him into her house, but he gets a sneaking suspicion that she belongs to someone's inner circle. She tells him she sometimes comes here to read and rest peacefully, then jumps excitedly onto the big bed in the middle of the room, strikes a welcoming pose, and urges him to come right over. He looks nervous and warns her not to test him, since his self-control is running out and he might just give in. She snaps at him, calling him a playboy and frowning while asking what's bothering him. But the protagonist just hands her 2 books he bought at the market. The books explain how Chu AI uses her sword skills and mysterious inner power to get stronger. He's shocked she figured him out, but the girl admits she caught him buying the sword, so Mu Jilling hands over a special flying blade as a gift. She jokes that her icy blade tames his fiery temper, and he thanks her with a sarcastic grin before she asks him to stay and practice their craft for a few days while she handles everything else. She also promises to refresh his special disciple badge now that he has leveled up. Surprised by her huge power, the young man finally asks who she really is. She smiles, tells him he is going to marry her, and then leaves the room. The door swings shut, leaving the boy all alone in the room with the gifts he just got. He smiles to himself, thinking that girl knows how to flirt and get right up in your face. But the young boy decides that mastering sword control comes first, so he grabs the book and gets to work. He sits down, closes his eyes to meditate, and starts practicing the new technique with a small sword in his hand. Soon after, he collapses from exhaustion, grumbling that the technique is simply too hard even for him, while the protagonist wonders if the pill made his body stronger but didn't help his mind catch up. As he sighs over his own lack of skill, a tiny white creature suddenly pops into the room. The boy spins around in surprise to stare at the strange, horned animal eating a leaf. Suddenly, a bright thought strikes him. If yang can be given away, then maybe comprehension can be too. He grins wickedly, steps closer to the creature, and tells it he can fix its boredom. He chooses to teach the creature how to multiply, and the system rewards him by giving him back 100 times what he invested. With that, the hero sees his trick worked and suddenly makes sense of everything far better than before. He sat down to meditate and soak up the new power he had just unlocked. When he opens his eyes, they glow with fresh clarity and a brand new strength. Now he can easily use a kung fu move that once felt too strange and hard for him. But the boy realizes that even this boost isn't enough for a soul from another world to survive here. Then, the tiny white creature catches his eye with a noise, looking eager to learn more from him. With a wicked grin, he grabs the animal and says he's going to teach it some geometry lessons now. As our hero chalks up complex calculus on the board, the system flashes a warning that his mind has grown far sharper. But the screen tells him his mind has hit its limit for where he is right now. Now that he has new powers, he's sure he can easily learn the cultivation secrets lying on the shelves. He tries out a new move called Vajra Fist by packing gold energy into his hand, while the creature hilariously copies him by zapping its tiny white body with lightning. The young man works his tricky fortune-telling magic while the tired animal looks on. Soon, he tosses away the old tricks since they are far too simple for his growing strength and wisdom. Zhao Mu decides to memorize every word in the books and then give them away to earn even more rewards from the system. As he thought over his plan, the small animal chirped again, nudging him closer with a gift of a bone that left him truly surprised. He grabs the bone, thanks his new friend, and promises to make soup with it later. As soon as he touches it, the item bursts into a purple glow, and the boy instantly knows he is holding the chaos-swallowing art. The hero is shocked the monster handed over a secret move, and the system learns it in a flash. Immediately after, he winces as a sharp headache hits him from the flood of new thoughts pouring into his mind. Next, the boy starts feeling very ill, and the tiny creature gets so worried that it's ready to do anything to help him feel better. He grumbles that even with his brain pushed to the breaking point, he still can't figure out the bone's trick. The young man can't decide if the item he got is just an Earth-tier trick or something truly amazing like a Heaven-tier one. Suddenly, Mu Jilling rushes in and asks what happened to put him in such a state. She feels bad for giving him a hard trick, but Zhao Mu tries to tell her the real truth. She tells him to take his time getting stronger and offers him a meal she made. The girl beams with a sweet smile and lovingly offers to feed him like a child. As our hero takes a bite, she suddenly understands that being there is not a coincidence. He then hands the mysterious bone to the girl and asks if she can use its power. The woman knows the art, and the boy tells her an animal gave it to him, but it was too hard to master. Just then, the system rewards you with 60 returns for giving up the Earth-tier technique. As a reward, he instantly accepts the high-grade pure yang swami art hidden in a golden scroll, which the system confirms fits his body perfectly. He believes the job won't take long, so the girl won't notice a thing. She gets mad, claims he stole her special skill, and nearly hurts the man who will soon be her husband. She tells him that he got lucky with his pure yang body and avoided pushing his cultivation too hard. She warns him that his body can't handle the chaos art because it will tear apart his inner energy channels, and he finally realizes this wasn't just his fault, but a clash with his very own nature. She explains that his body is unique and it will take time to figure out the perfect way to train him. He questions her secret plan, and the girl simply replies that her idea for him is clear, then smiles and tells him to finally give himself up to her. The girl promises to protect him from the demon sect if he joins her, but he rejects her with a burst of purple energy that blows the roof off, only for a mysterious woman to crash in and kick him while shouting his name, terrifying the boy and shocking the girl who suddenly calls her master. The mighty cultivator glares at them both with icy disdain. She then mocks them for their secret moment, prompting the disciple to bow in fear while the young man stays frozen under her gaze, only for the master to reveal that Jilling is her prized disciple meant to become the sect's saint, much to her annoyance that she was wasting time playing with a servant instead of training the girl. Zhao Mu knows that this woman is his friend's master and the legendary leader of the demonic sect. The girl drops to her knees and pleads with her master to forgive her for her mistake. The woman promises her disciple one last shot and pulls a sword from her swirling purple energy. She tells the girl to kill the boy to stop her feelings and join her in hiding. With a defiant look, the girl stands up and tells her master that her beloved has nothing to do with it, crying that if she gives in, her Tao heart will be broken and she can never grow again, which makes the master ask if she's threatening her before she unleashes a powerful purple aura that presses down on both of them with overwhelming force. When the hero realizes the saint intends to harm his own apprentice, he despairingly leaps in front of her, shielding her as his hand bursts with a brilliant golden light. The boy wraps his arms tightly around her from behind and begs her to take all his inner strength inside her. The powerful woman is stunned to realize he has awakened the legendary Crimson Yang sacred body. He grins and compliments her sharp eyes while a wall of fire keeps them safe, and the master marvels at her rare talent, only for her to joke that she'd have tied him up to his bed if she'd known about his special body. She feels embarrassed, so the protagonist quickly tells her that his friend was just saying nonsense. The saint chooses to let the boy live for the moment, just because of her beloved disciple. She sends him back to the outer sect and bans him from returning until he reaches the nascent soul realm. Then she vanishes with her apprentice and tells him never to seek out Jilling again. Alone, he thinks about how strong she is and realizes she could end him just by thinking about it. With a fierce look in his eyes, the young man tightens his fists and vows to get much stronger. The story then jumps back to the bustling, noisy servant quarters of the sect. Our hero walks back to his quiet little room after all that big noise. He felt the road was full of danger, but the fresh and mighty rewards made it all worth the risk. The boy jumps onto the bed and tells the system to start making him stronger right now. As he meditates, a huge golden fire wraps around him to soak up the strength of his new skills. He was blown away by how fast he grew, realizing his special art and holy body were to blame. But the system warns him that there isn't enough energy around and tells him to find another power source to take in. Without a second thought, the young man hits the yes button and goes along with the blue screen's idea. Suddenly, a huge pile of spirit stones rises up, and he sees that they are the crystals he had saved. The stones are quickly losing their power to fuel his fierce training. With a bright, excited smile, he takes in all the energy pouring into his room. Next, the scene shifts to the outside of the quarters, where his window glows with a bright light. The following morning, our hero kept meditating until he realized something had gone on while he slept. He stares in shock as his entire stash of 70,000 spirit stones vanishes in a single instant. But the boy doesn't complain since he reached the third level of foundation establishment, so now he stretches and worries about how to earn money fast. As he steps out of the room, 3 men shout his name and block his way. Hu Chuyong, the group's leader, mentions Sister Chu's kindness, but the bully sneers at the boy for not showing more thanks. Zhao Mu recalls this tyrant crushes the weak and controls the women, so he provokes him by asking about the stolen stones, which makes the bully so furious he charges with a tiger claw strike that the hero blocks easily while mocking the enemy's slow speed. Next, he lashes out with a crushing punch to the opponent's face, leaving him unable to dodge. The bully crashes to the ground in defeat while his scared sidekicks rush to help him. Hu Chong coughed on the ground, shocked and unable to believe what just happened to him. The attacker sees the boy has gotten stronger, and the hero wonders if his new power is already too clear to miss. The bully stands up and tells his goons to rush in together to finally beat him. Suddenly, 3 men rush toward our hero, their green auras glowing brightly. He moves so fast and smoothly that he dodges every enemy punch without even breaking a sweat. Some folks watching the fight worry about the kid because he's up against so many enemies. He grins with confidence, gathering glowing golden energy in his hands to launch a powerful counterattack. The young man then blasts a wave of red energy that knocks all the henchmen flying away with just one hit. Feeling annoyed, the enemy turns into a tiger, but the protagonist stands calm and ready to face him. The tiger man screams that the young man must die and prepares to unleash his deadliest blow. With a wicked grin, our hero readies his fiery fists for the coming battle. Suddenly, he punches his rival so hard in the face that the rival falls down, beaten. The opponent gets flung so hard he smashes right into one of his own followers. The beaten Tiger Man glares at the boy and warns him to wait for the trouble that's coming his way. But the protagonist just steps on the bully's head, his masked glare radiating danger as he commands silence before slamming him harder into the ground. The crowd cheers for his victory and thanks him for banishing the tyrannical tiger demons. He then grabs the enemy's bag of stones and holds it up for everyone watching the fight to see. The boy shouts that those rocks belong to Hu Chuyong and says he will give them back to their owners. With a toss, he sends the crystals flying into the air as the crowd cheers wildly and thanks Zhao Mu while scrambling to pick up the sparkling stones from the ground. Smiling, the system tells him that his donation of 9,000 stones earned him 9 million crystals, and soon after, our hero locates Wang Chan to offer him a pill in return for his past help. But the friend quickly turns down the gift, calling the item too precious for him to take. Tired of all the formalities, the protagonist just shoves the whole pill down the boy's throat in one go. With a snap of his fingers, he summons a 100-fold return and secures a foundation establishment pill. Wang Chan warns him that the tyrants have their own defenders, so he must find a helper in the outer sect. The young man nodded to the advice, admitting that was exactly what he had planned all along. Then our hero makes his way to the massive and mighty management hall of the outer sect. Inside, the grumpy outer sect manager Jiang Dinkan stands near a blazing cauldron, looking annoyed as he works on refining something. Zhao Mu stepped into the hall and greeted the manager with a warm smile and a polite nod. The manager just stares at him with a mean look, making it clear he isn't happy about the visit. Suddenly, the older man reached out and put his hand over the fire, acting in a way that seemed very suspicious. Suddenly, the cauldron erupts in a huge burst of fire and sends the manager flying back. Through the thick smoke and mess, the man stands up coughing hard and looking very annoyed. He then points at the young man, blames him for ruining his refinement, and orders him to leave. The boy is convinced the manager sent him on purpose just to cause trouble. As the man tries to kick him out, our hero begs him to calm down and stop getting so worked up. To soothe the man, the hero hands over 50,000 stones, leaving the manager wide-eyed at the sheer amount. The manager flashes a fake smile and suddenly agrees to process the promotion right away. The protagonist fixes him with a hard stare and demands to know exactly who is trying to block his promotion. Jiang claims he only takes money to fix problems and never meddles in others' affairs. So our hero playfully asks if the 50,000 spirit stones are enough. The jittery manager pulls him in close, looking like he's about to share a huge secret. He carefully moves a few pebbles on the floor to spell out a name without drawing anyone's attention. The boy is stunned to find out that Chu Jiao Ran, the one who once held him prisoner, is the mastermind behind everything. He recalls that she holds a high status and that her spies are watching everywhere in the outer sect. The young man thanked him for the warning, but the man simply shrugged and said he never told anyone, only pretended to keep up appearances. Soon after, he takes flight on his golden sword, soaring far away to figure out his next move. He stared with a fierce look, knowing he had to track down Lu Qiu and take refuge inside her home for a little while. So he blasts off at breakneck speed toward his friend's home in the sect mountains. When he arrives, he is surprised to see two men leaving Lu Qiu's room and can't figure out who they are. The two men were Long Tianxiang, a genius from the sect, and Lu Haikong, one of the 12 powerful elders. The elder announced that since his granddaughter leveled up, they could finally set the marriage alliance in motion. Long Tianxiang promises that once he takes the grand hunting competition, he will immediately marry his granddaughter. Standing far away, the main character watches the pair and makes fun of Long by calling him names in a mean and playful way. Then he swoops to her door, glowing with golden light, and shouts to get inside. Lu Qiu bursts through the door with a beaming smile, shouting his name overjoyed at finally seeing him. He asks if Long Tianxiang came to talk about the marriage, and she tells him not to say that name. She sits on his lap and asks why he decided to finally go looking for her. The boy says that another woman is to blame because she keeps him from joining the outer sect. Annoyed, the girl declares she will challenge her rival once she strengthens her power, but she immediately steps closer to thank him, admitting his help was what made her progress so fast, only for him to warn her that getting any nearer might make him lose control. Yet she encourages him to keep going and, with a teasing look, asks him to help her practice one more time that night. Next, we see a shadowy figure behind a screen, showing that the two are training side by side. Scattered flower petals on the floor tell us that quite a while has gone by since then. The next morning, the girl lay deep in sleep, completely drained from the wild and exhausting cultivation session the night before. The system shouts that he got a 50 times return, but the boy thinks the power boost isn't high enough. The screen tells him that since she drained him so often, his reward will slowly get smaller. Knowing this, he realizes that betting everything on just one person makes the whole system fail. So the young man figured that gathering more sisters to train with might boost his progress, but he pushed those ideas aside for now and chose to focus on his own training first. As he meditates, he pushes his foundation skills forward to the 3rd and 4th levels. He stops trying and is stunned to find all the stones vanished before he even reached the 5th level. The boy realizes his holy form is burning through resources faster than it can replace them, so he must keep finding more and more. Just then, he spots a strange shadow at the window and wonders what's outside. Curious, the protagonist crept to the window to see what was making that mysterious noise. Suddenly, he bumps into a woman with purple eyes who stares right back at him, totally shocked. Our hero freezes in shock, stumbling over his words as he realizes the terrifying saint of the demonic sect stands right before him, only for her to coldly tell him to call her Zishuan while glaring down at him with pure intimidation. Soon, the woman boldly reaches out and presses her finger right against the boy's belly. She tells him she needs his pure young power to help her grow, leaving him completely stunned. So, the young man shoves her away and rushes to put some space between them, scared of this wild and dangerous woman. He attempts to shake her confidence by claiming her advanced skills don't require any help at all. Furious by the excuse, the saint unleashes a mighty purple glow that floods the whole room. Suddenly, the protagonist is crushed by a massive force and complains about the heavy pressure on her spirit. Then she snaps at him to stop delaying and finally asks if he is ready to save her. With a smile, he agrees to her choice while secretly planning to one day make her pay for it. Her ears turned red as the boy spoke, and she looked completely embarrassed. She tells him not to ask the wrong questions, then pops a purple portal right in the middle of the room. Suddenly, a giant swirl of purple energy pops into the room and begins to spin fast. Next, we follow the scene into a cave carved inside a massive tree known as the Purple Heaven Cave Dwelling. The saint tells him to follow her as they walk to that lonely place where she practices, promising that no one will bother them there. He then begins to get ready, and when the girl asks what he's doing, the young man replies that he's just cooperating. She turns red and insists she doesn't need his help getting ready because she has her own plans. The boy teases her that while she likes to take charge, he believes it's much better when they work together. Just as he is about to finish speaking, the woman stuffs a cloth in his mouth to silence him. She ties him up and floats him in the air, telling him to close his eyes to help grow his power, while the saint warns him that if he doesn't cooperate, he will die. Right after that, our hero gets shoved into a pool, and while the powerful woman tells him to clean up, the smiling boy agrees to do whatever she says. But when he mentions the saint is quiet, she instantly uses her magic to slam him onto a glowing purple stone bed with a huge burst of force. A young man is chained to his bed by glowing energy, grumbling about this familiar nightmare, only to find himself overwhelmed by a woman's power while strange things lick his face and leave him completely confused. When he opens his eyes, he finds himself staring at 2 cat girls named Enlil and Yuan Naiwen who ask what's wrong and question if he thinks they aren't pretty enough for the job they were given. They say they are just puppets for the master and need to gather his yang power for at least 2 hours. Our hero gets fed up that she's using tools to drain his power for just 2 hours. With a sneer, he suddenly grabs one of the girls by surprise, leaving her frozen in shock. The boy tosses her onto the bed and declares he's about to prove just how strong he really is. The other cat girl watches him with worry and asks him to be gentle with her sister. Overwhelmed, the girl begged him to stop, but the young man seemed lost to himself and went all out anyway. The night drags on as cherry blossom petals drift down gently in the mountain breeze. While back in the cave, the saint frowns with irritation, wondering how much longer this will go on. We spot the 2 tired cat girls slumped on the table while our hero looks equally worn out, floating in the water. He quickly sees that the hot spring can boost his yang energy, leaving him feeling full of strength. Soon after, the 2 puppets rush up to him, call him a jerk for draining them, and on their knees beg him to forgive them while blaming Zhao Mu's overwhelming strength for everything. She turned red as she admitted she had seen everything and insisted it wasn't their fault. She then tells them to get back up and to leave the crimson yang liquid behind. The cat girls nod in agreement, drop their rewards, and walk away with a bow. Then the boy climbs out of the water and walks toward the strong woman, looking brave and sure of himself. He asks if his show was great, but the saint just says it was okay to mess with him. Despite that, she throws a pouch of supplies and a few vials to the young man as a reward for all his hard work. He grinned as he realized he had earned 10 million stones and 4 top-tier pills. Our hero is so thrilled with the payment that he praises the powerful cultivator's generous heart. She asks him why he is still there and tells him to leave, just this time for good. He grinned wickedly and hinted that she'd be much better off trying to grow the plants herself. The woman drops her jaw, her face flushing bright red as the young man makes his daring offer. Furious, she screams at him to leave and blasts him away through a powerful purple portal, causing a huge swirling vortex to spin fast in the middle of the room. Suddenly, the hero is flung back into his room and lands on the floor, spinning and feeling very dizzy. Back in his room, our hero is amazed by Lu Chi AI's powers, and the system tells him that his body has grown stronger because he gave so much power to her. Without wasting a second, he sits down to meditate, letting a golden aura glow as he soaks up the fresh energy. He smiles as he confirms that swapping cultivation partners really boosts the rewards. He figured that as long as the lady needed his strength, he would always have a safe spot in the sect. The saint looks down at the golden liquid in the ball the boy gave her. Perched high on her throne, she waits with a hopeful heart that the young cultivator's power will live up to her high expectations. Suddenly, she remembers the boy with his puppets and her face twists into annoyance. As the woman takes a drink, a sudden rush of heat makes her cheeks turn bright red, but she quickly steadies herself and declares that a small cauldron won't be enough to stop her from growing stronger. While their distracted master lets them hide away, the cat girls wonder if the liquid they drank will cause problems, and the next day brings bright sunshine into their courtyard. Lu Chi wakes up inside the room, stretches with a big yawn, and realizes he's wearing a very revealing outfit. She sees Xiaomu already meditating with a bright golden glow, and she cheers him on for his hard work while he says he just felt like he could get stronger. She smiles and challenges him to walk the heavenly ascension road right alongside her. This ancient secret realm of the sect features a towering purple gate, where surviving just 3 of the 12 deadly layers earns you a spot in the top 100. But from the 3rd floor up, huge demons block the way, and someone notes that Chu Jiran, being 9th in rank, should be able to survive the 4th floor for a while. The boy tells her not to go so far for him, but she replies that she's helping herself too. She claims Chu Jiran isn't the strongest and vows to show that the demonic race is far superior to humans. He looks serious as he realizes that even though the sect treats everyone the same, rivalry is still alive. He tells her he's now an outer disciple and can join her, making her so happy that they walk hand in hand toward the grand, mysterious purple portal of the challenge. On the other side, a group of defeated disciples stumble out, complaining that the monsters on the 3rd floor are terrifying. Over nearby, a crowd cheered Brother Nyo for leaping 47 spots on the list in one big jump. Nyo Tai proudly boasts that his success is all thanks to his own talent and hard work. But the horn man quickly turns around to stare at a red-headed woman who is watching him. The mysterious girl warns him not to forget her help and pushes him to finish her job. So the big guy agrees, wipes a drop of sweat from his brow, and stands tall despite his nerves. Suddenly, he spots our hero walking in with Lu Shui and stares at them with pure disgust. He steps up to them and asks if Lu Shui AI is brave enough to let her pretty face into the challenge. The girl taunts him and asks how he lost to that same pretty face, which only makes the man furious. The protagonist shouts that he's a loser and warns him not to make a scene, but the big guy just calls him a fool. Enraged, the horned man unleashes a red glow and smashes the ground with all his might, only to charge at the couple next, but the boy steps in front to shield his friend with a strong block. Suddenly, a glowing red object steps in front of them and blocks the attack, stopping the blow right before it hits. A voice boomed out that Nyotai had issued a fighting challenge and demanded whether he would say yes or no. She tells him not to fight, but he insists she stay calm because he knows just how far he can go. The protagonist found the fight so dull they insisted on adding a wager to make it exciting. With a grin, the big guy accepts the bet, wagering his 2nd-tier flying sword on the chance he might lose. Then our hero pulls out his storage ring and declares it will be his bet. Once they accept the challenge, both stare at each other with wild intensity right before the battle starts. A crowd has gathered to watch the fight between Nyotai and the famous boy from the servants' courtyard. Chu Jiran hears the wild rumors about his pure young body and calls him the shame of the demonic sect. The red-haired woman sees her, shakes her head in surprise, and says she never thought the boy had a girlfriend. She grins wickedly at her rival and claims this might turn out to be a good thing in the end. She says that for a bird, the only true end is to be crushed before it can ever fly. She commands Nyotai to pour every ounce of his strength into the battle, and he promises she will never have to worry about letting her down. With that, the horn man unleashes a blazing red aura and surges forward with all his might. With worry in her heart, Lu Shui AI shouts at the young man to be super careful when facing that powerful attack. The attacker jumps high into the air and shouts that our hero must die, but the boy just watches him with a calm face. Suddenly, the enemy's attack tiers open the arena in a huge burst of red energy. The crowd gasped in awe as the afterimage step technique surged with power, making the user look even stronger than before. Lu Qiu, fed up with the mess, steps up to the woman and tells her she messed with Chu Jiran to bring all this trouble down on us. She gave a wicked smile and said that if he had been her obedient dog, he might have lived a little longer. But she is stunned to see the attack stopped and can't believe her eyes. From the thick smoke, our hero steps out and grabs his opponent's horns with amazing strength. Kneeling on the ground, the big man can't believe he lost while the boy stares right at him with pure disgust. Xiao Mu taunts him about his weak strength and questions if he's gone without food, only for the giant to mock him in return. The red-haired woman screams at her henchman to swallow the pill she gave him to survive the fight. The horn man claims he was forced into this fight and pulls out a tiny red pill to help him survive the battle. He glares with pure hatred, then shoves the pill into his mouth with all his might, letting his dark power wake it up. With a sudden burst of energy, he breaks free and our hero is sent flying by the impact, only to transform into a minotaur and declare that he will show everyone his most powerful form. The hero just rolled his eyes and muttered that he'd ended up stuck with an ox. Lu Qiu calls out her rival for cheating, but the woman in red insists it isn't a cheat. She tells him that the demonic spirit pill only wakes up his bloodline's power for a short time. The girl says his people have a special strength inside them, not from anyone else helping them. The Minotaur then threatens the boy, promising a terrible end to him. Next, he fires his afterimage attack and dashes across the arena with breathtaking speed. The crowd is stunned and awed because they can't even see him move. Our hero ducks the blow with a grin, leaving his mark in the wake of his exit. The punch whistled harmlessly through the air, ripping just a tiny piece of the young man's clothes as the rival's attack rushed past. He suddenly realized he wasn't even scratched, and only the force of the wind had caused him any real pain. With the force of his own strike, the Minotaur crashes face down into the dirt and takes a bad fall. The big guy gets slammed into the Grand Challenge's entrance gate by the impact. The shock of the hit makes everyone whisper about how strong the demon kind really is. Through the thick smoke, the horn man rises with a pounding headache and pure irritation. The Minotaur promises that this time, our hero won't be able to get away from his strike. The boy glows with a golden light as he slips away, admitting his opponent is truly powerful. He grins wickedly and winds up his glowing fist to strike back. Then the hero surges forward with blazing speed, crashing into the other fighter right in the middle of the arena. His golden fist glows with power as he gets ready to strike the final blow. In a flash, the young man's punch hits his horned rival square in the face and throws him flying across the arena like a ragdoll, kicking up a huge cloud of dust that leaves the red-haired woman staring in shock, wondering how that could happen. On the ground, the large man shrinks back to his normal size, shocking everyone with how easily they knocked him out, while the hero shines with a glowing presence that makes the crowd wonder just how much he has grown. Happy with the victory, Lu Qiu hugs him tightly and cheers for his amazing fight. The girl insists she didn't get his character wrong, but he points out that so many other people are watching them right now. The woman in red, furious that her henchman lost, screams that he is nothing but trash and looks at him with pure disgust. She then commands her followers to grab the horned man and take him far away right now. Before they walk away, our hero stops everyone and says, "Wait just a second." The henchmen grow angry and demand to know what he wants now that their boss is defeated. He smiles and calls himself a fair man, then offers 10,000 spirit stones. He hurls the stones at his rival and jokes that they'll pay for the doctor's bill. Some say Xiao Mu is acting too proud, but they all agree he looks stunning right now. The system says he earned 1,000,000 stones, but the boy grumbles that the reward feels too small. The red-haired woman sees the scene, cheers for him, and says his generosity is amazing. Then she steps closer, smiles and tells him that, just like she knew he would, her feelings for him only grow stronger. She smiles and pulls him close, promising him everything he has ever dreamed of. Our hero pushes her away, instantly rejecting her offer. He looks grave and tells her that she isn't worth having him as her partner. The woman explodes in fury, letting out a blast of purple rage. At that exact moment, Lu Qiu rushed between the two, wrapping her friend in a shimmering blue aura to keep her safe. She screams that Xiao Mu is a human being, not just a tool to use and then throw away. The girl then takes on her rival, promising to climb higher in the rankings so they can fight fairly. Then she grabs his hand and promises to make him whole again for every wrong they suffered. The boy compliments her cool attitude, and she jokes that it's great he finally knows his own worth. With that, the two step into the grand purple portal and begin their heavenly challenge. Left behind and furious, the red-haired woman screams insults at him with wild anger. With a furious glare, she vows to make life difficult for Lu Qiu and Xiao Mu, while a disciple reveals she is the 9th-ranked Chu Jiran and Lu Qiu is an elder's granddaughter. All as the jealous demon Nua watches the two beauties battle over the protagonist before the scene shifts to the sect's sacred 9-dragon swords mount, where a mysterious man meditates under a giant floating sword, his body surrounded by a glowing purple aura. Suddenly, he snapped his eyes open with a serious look, as if he had just felt something strange. He flicks his wrist, and his sword, glowing with a fierce purple light, hovers toward him before he rises and commands it with a simple wave of his hand. But he sits back down and admits the power level he felt was just okay. Just then, Manhwa dashes over and shouts, "Senior Brother Long," to grab his attention. The demon claims that Lu Qiu and Chu Jiran are fighting over a new disciple in the sect. Enraged, Long scolds him for ruining his spiritual progress over something so small, and then blasts him with a flurry of golden swords that hit with all their might. Terrified, the demon stammers his apologies, admits he was just being nosy, and promises to leave right this second. But the mysterious swordsman stops him and tells him to wait a moment before going. Feeling nervous, the horned man asks his boss if there are any other orders for him. Without a word, the sword master shoots a quick burst of golden energy right at him. The demon screams in agony from the hit and begs to know why anyone would hurt him like that. Longman tells the boy to stop complaining and look at his chest, where a golden sword mark suddenly shines so brightly that it fills the room, explaining that this glowing threat is beyond what the big guy understands, who only sneers in contempt like an ant that has no idea of the world's true size. He then commands the horned demon to kill the ant right now. Feeling strong, the big guy smiles and thanks his master for the mission he's now ready to take on. Back at the heavenly challenge, the couple steps onto a shimmering water floor, and the girl warns that since this is Zhao Mu's first time, they will be forced to part ways. The boy sees the girl acting shy and calls out to her with a questioning look. Suddenly, the girl grabs him for a final kiss before running off into the distance. She steps back and shouts a warning to the young man, telling him to be extra careful during the challenge. Smiling, he quietly thinks that she is the one who really needs to watch her step there. Our hero walks alone through the mysterious room to start his first trial. Suddenly, he halts as if struck by fear, turning to stare at a towering shadow looming before him. Out of the smoke steps a giant rooster monster with glowing red eyes, ready for their first fight. Next, a werewolf-like beast with sharp teeth leaps into the battle. Finally, a giant toad with a huge tongue challenges him for his last test. Then, the three monsters close in to hit him all at once. But the boy twists away quickly and lands a hard kick on one of his enemies. Suddenly, he is shocked to find the monsters on the first floor are far tougher than rookies should face. Suddenly, a spiky hedgehog monster rolls in and attacks him right then. The protagonist dashes forward to dodge the hedgehog's charge and the sharp spikes waiting on the ground. He grinned wickedly, his golden glow flaring up as he declared it was time to fight back. Then he lands a burning punch on the hedgehog, and the other monsters get so scared they freeze in fear. Without wasting a single second, the young man knocks out the other creatures with amazing speed. With the enemies lying on the ground, he admitted it was way too easy for his level. The system cheers for him and hands out 3 rewards for clearing the first floor. He picks the blazing flame palm and declares that its power fits his sacred body perfectly. He grinned, grabbed the book, and knew it was exactly what he needed right then. Then he starts reading about how to channel the sun's true fire inside his own body. He then taps into the sun's heat to make his palm burn hot and his punch stronger. With just one quick move, the boy fires an energy blast that smashes the rocks right in front of him. Feeling proud of his win, he steps up the glowing stairs to face the next challenge on the second floor. Right after, he breezes past the third floor and keeps moving forward without any trouble. Lu Qiu stands her ground and fights the Isekai with her energy sword. Once she vanquished the enemy, she climbed through the third layer and claimed her rewards. The crowd outside cheered, knowing the girl had made it into the top 50 and could go even higher. But suddenly, Zhao Mu's name flashed on the board, leaving the whole crowd stunned. Everyone was amazed when he raced up the first floor and instantly became one of the top 1,000 in record time. Filled with rage, Chu Jiran thinks the couple is training together to get stronger, until a mysterious blue-haired stranger suddenly appears and grabs everyone's attention. This is Nalan Chuang, the top-ranked hero, who everyone says carries the legendary blood of a Chilean beast. Some followers say he is too proud and depends only on his highborn family. The blue-haired man catches the whispers and glares at them with a look that says, "Stay away." His arm suddenly turns into blue dragon scales, and in a flash, he zooms forward to hit the gossipers with a powerful, super-fast blow. After the man says he hates it when people talk behind his back, he knocks them to the ground. At that exact moment, Chu Jiran looks him in the eye and asks why he is there. So he smiles and admits he came just to mock her after hearing about her pretty face being stolen away by another woman. With a burst of purple fire, the furious woman declares that he is walking straight into disaster. She throws everything she has at him, but the blue-haired guy easily dodges and laughs at her nervousness. Suddenly, a huge hand pops out of nowhere and catches the girl's punch with zero effort. While that was happening, Another hand met the blue-haired boy's attack with a force just as strong. As the two face each other, Manhwa steps forward glowing with golden light, and the woman knows instantly who he is. He told me he's the 8th strongest person in the inner sect and has reached the highest level of his power. The girl asks if he's there to save his cousin, and the demon just stares at her with a grin. He claims Brother Long sent him and even points to the sword mark on his chest to prove he's telling the truth. Nalan smiles and cheers, realizing he wasn't here for nothing after all. He can't help but wonder if that new student will be able to handle such a mighty expert. All three spin around to stare at the tower the moment someone shouts to look at the board. Zhao Mu shoots up into the top 200, leaving everyone stunned by how fast he went. Meanwhile, on the second floor, our hero confronts a fresh and mighty portal. He then unleashes his blazing flame palm to strike the giant fire gorilla in the arena. After he wins and picks his reward, he quickly realizes that the secret techniques and magical pills don't work. So he grabs a small, glowing golden wooden block and decides to take it. The object turns out to be a tier 2 flying sword that he commands with just his finger. As he climbs the stairs, he grumbles that his weapon isn't strong enough and he needs to figure out how to get it done. When the hero reaches the door to the next floor, he freezes in doubt, staring at the scary horde of monsters and wondering if there are too many to fight. As a golden light surrounds him, the boy finally gets it. Disciples can't move on until they finish their training. But he decides that even if he fails, he must still push his body to its breaking point. The monsters rush forward so fast that the hero is shocked. To get the upper hand, he strikes first, slamming his burning palm into one of the enemies. But the trick doesn't work, and the blast blasts the young man backward. Even though the creatures surround him and he thinks the fight is done, his eyes still show he will win. With a battle cry, our hero dodges a blow, stomps on a snake monster's head, and then punches another creature right in the face. The creature screams in agony as the blow shatters its teeth. Sitting on the ground, he notices he only has a few scrapes and starts to wonder just how strong his special body really is. Suddenly, 2 flying monsters dive down to attack him from above, but the boy just looks up at them with total disrespect. Zhao Mu moves with lightning speed to dodge the attacks, then gets ready to strike back. He grins, admits the monsters aren't scary after all, and feels confident his tough body can finally beat the level. So he unleashes a ring of fire tornadoes that dance across the entire arena. The flames swirl together and turn into a giant fire beast to stand by the hero's side and fight. Happy with the result, he celebrates having finally mastered the technique for the first time. Suddenly, a green light wraps around him, fixing his wounds in a flash. He says that the Crimson Yang makes his body incredibly strong and helps him heal fast. With that settled, he feels he can still take on the 4th floor, so he heads up the stairs. Then the system cheers for him and hands out 3 rewards for clearing the 3rd level of the challenge. The boy realizes that the pills and magical treasures he found in the tower won't work back inside. To take on the 4th floor, he knows he has to find a brand new way to grow stronger. With no clock ticking, our hero chooses to perfect the trick before taking the test. Outside, the crowd whispers that the board must be broken since it never failed in 8,000 years. As Zhao Mu's name climbs to the 13th spot on the scoreboard, a man can't help but wonder just how he pulled it off. The crowd stood speechless as he smashed the 3rd floor record in just 15 minutes. Furious, Chu Jiren wonders what secret chance he stumbled upon to become so powerful. Right then, Nyo scolded her for getting so worked up over nothing more than a little bit of the outer sect's arrogance. The horned man then calls the outer sect nothing but a bunch of useless and worthless people. Suddenly, someone shouts that Senior Sister Lu is bursting out of the heavenly challenge this very moment. Suddenly, Lu Qiu steps forward, revealing she took 9th place and knocked her rival down. The disciples cheer for her big win, but she just shrugs and smiles, saying it was nothing special. She looks right at her rival and says it wasn't much, but it was enough to beat a certain fox. Lu Qiu then realizes the demon is actually Nyo Ti's cousin, who has come to take revenge on the protagonist. While Zhao Mu sits quietly in the tower, a flash of purple lightning wraps around him as he meditates. His eyes snap open as a streak of purple energy races across his face, proving he now holds a brand new power. He screamed, hurling a powerful burst of purple lightning that wrapped around his enemy. His new purple lightning technique blasts the arena rocks apart with full force. He suddenly understands that without his new knowledge, learning this much in so little time would have been impossible, and he sees that the attack's huge reach will help him fight many enemies at once. After letting out a long sigh, he feels rested enough to keep climbing the tower. As he climbs the stairs toward the portal, he wonders what enemy is waiting for him on the 4th floor. Out of the darkness, a giant black panther with sharp claws, fiery tail, and fierce eyes lunges forward right before him. One fierce beast alone is already pushing our hero to the limit. Still, he makes up his mind to try his hardest and gets ready for battle with fire blazing in his hands. The beast surges forward at lightning speed and slashes its claws straight into the boy's chest. To defend himself, the young man unleashes a blazing flame from his palm, sending a massive burst of fire hurtling toward the monster. But the creature is too fast and dodges it, leaving the boy realizing he can't land a hit. So Xiaomu unleashes his lightning to see if the creature can dodge the shock. The monster gets caught in his trap and smiles, saying at last he has finally got it. With the enemy cornered, he shouts for one final, powerful blow and throws every ounce of his strength into the attack. But the creature twists through the air to dodge the boy's surprise attack, then laughs and claims the beast fell right into his trap with his strongest weapon, lightning. But the monster slips away from the electric blast again, showing off just how fast and nimble it is. All at once, the young man looks down and realizes the enemy has struck him right in the chest. Kneeling in pain, he believes the fight is over and the monster has won. He stares down the beast with a determined look, blood dripping from his injured hand. Suddenly, the system warns that feeding the beast triggers a 10,000-fold return, and his arm begins to glow golden as it bursts with incredible new strength. With a blazing ring of fire, the system cheers for his new human emperor bloodline, and he stares in shock at the incredible 10,000-fold return, learning that humans once nearly vanished against monsters and demons until a brave group of warriors rose up to forge an unstoppable force that saved everyone. Filled with hope, he convinces himself that one day he will be able to drive every enemy out of the world. Then the boy unleashes a blazing red energy that tears the ground apart, scaring the panther as it hesitates before lunging again with sharp claws. Our hero slips past the attack with no trouble and sees that the beast is moving very slowly now. In a split second, he slips behind the enemy and readies himself to strike back. With golden light pulsing through his fingers, he unleashes a brand new attack against the creature. With one perfect strike, the panther falls defeated, and the hero lets out a long sigh of relief as he celebrates his hard-won victory. The system presents 3 rewards, but he must pick just one to claim. He shrugs off the useless stuff and swallows the pill, saving it to pass along to someone else later. With that, he assumes the world outside must be buzzing by now, right as a disciple shouts for everyone to look because Xiao Mu's rank has changed once more. The boy's name climbed to the top spot on the board, sending the crowd into a shocked uproar. Happy with the result, Lu Qiu cheers while Chu Jiren wonders how it happened. Angry Nyoo vows to pour every ounce of his strength into wiping out the rookie. Meanwhile, inside the tower, the hero steps through the glowing portal to face the big final floor. He stands face to face with 5 demons, wondering if that's really too much, and smiles to say he doesn't need the big guys to move because he knows his own limits. But suddenly, a huge red spear thrusts at him with all its might. The young man doesn't worry and tells the big guys to wait a bit and not be impatient. Next, one of the horned demons lets out a cry of pain and glares angrily at the spear. With a smile, the boy promises to wait until he's strong enough to face them all again. He is sure the day will come soon, so he waves goodbye with a look full of confidence. Suddenly, a bright golden light bursts in the middle of the crowd as everyone cheers that Xiao Mu has finally left the tower, leaving him surrounded and wondering if they are just there to welcome him. Suddenly, Nyoo leaps from the crowd and lands right before the protagonist. The demon glared at the boy, hissing that he had finally appeared after waiting far too long. The hero holds his ground against the towering demon as the 2 girls step in to shield him. The girls warn him to be careful and say they'll hold back the 8th-ranked opponent so he can escape. He gets that Lu Qiu is helping, but he doubts the rivals' motives, and they say they have their own reasons. The demon knows the boy is special and decides he must kill him right away. He screams, unleashes his power, and declares that nothing will stop him from avenging his cousin. Smiling, the boy announces that warm-ups are done, and he's ready to see how strong his opponent really is. He channels the human emperor's blood to face Nyoo head-on, and when their strikes collide, a massive explosion of power blasts everyone flying backward. The crowd gasps in shock as he stands firm against the enemy's might, even though he is far below their level. Nyoo spots the golden light and knows he carries the emperor's blood, telling the horned demon he's outmatched in a fight of strength, which angers the big guy enough to drop his guard and unleash his full power. The demon lets out a furious roar and calls down a blazing golden sword for his last strike. The girls cry out in fear, screaming at Xiao Mu to run away from that place right now. The horn man says that if you fall to that sword's power, your life won't have been wasted. Our hero stands fearless, staring down a sword of golden light that suddenly turns into a dragon and smashes into him, forcing him to recognize the attacker as Long Tiangshang and unleash his full human emperor bloodline to block the strike with his bare hands, which creates a massive explosion that blows the entire arena floor apart. Desperate, Lu Qiu screams Xiao Mu's name and admits there's nothing left to do, while Chu Jiren believes he's turned to ash and realizes her master's task can never be finished. The demon warns that angering someone as powerful as him brings a heavy price, and with a look of pure rage, the girl in white stares down the horned man who stands with his back turned. Then he hears a cough, spins around, and feels confused by what just happened. Through the thick smoke, the boy grins and asks if that was Long Tiangshang's legendary sword intent. Even with a broken body, he rises and claims the attack wasn't so bad after all, leaving the demon shocked he's still alive while Lu Qiu cheers that her friend has survived. With a roar of rage, the enemy vows to end it all and rushes forward, his fists burning with fire. In that very moment, the girl stands between the big guy and danger, screaming for him to stop right now. Just as the horned man roars at her to dodge and charges in with full force, the demon screams for the hero to die, but the hero is too weak to move until a burst of purple energy crashes down from the sky, striking the enemy and knocking him flat. Furious, the big guy demands to know who dares stop him from taking his revenge right now. A girl drifting in a purple glow declares she stopped him with her power, then looks at the disciple with a serious expression and asks if he has any objection to what she did. Terrified, the man drops to his knees, claiming he's too afraid to interfere and wondering why the Holy Lady has come to him. As the Holy Lady drifts down from the sky, everyone in the arena drops to their knees to welcome her, and when she looks at the boy, she tells him that his actions have changed how she sees him. The Holy Lady calls him the pride of the outer sect, but the boy says it was just luck. Next, she offers him a spot as her student, and the young man is shocked by her request. Suddenly, a burst of red energy reveals a voice claiming to have heard about humanity's greatest pride, which causes 3 elders appearing in the sky to start arguing over who will get to train him. The disciples ask who these old men are, and someone says they are the elders of the human race, while one of them tells the Holy Lady to stay out of it because the boy belongs to them. Another master steps in and tells her she should leave this new talent to him, since she already has her own disciple. The third elder gives the rookie armor and his finest fighting tricks. The crowd was stunned when 3 of the 4 human elders of the sect showed up just to hire him. Masters crowd around him, each trying to win him over as their own student. With a grin, our hero happily accepts the proposal from everyone all at once. The older people stood frozen, jaws dropped, when the boy gave them a brave and surprising answer right there in the middle of the ring. The Holy Lady then smiles and says she has no objection, leaving the final choice up to the other masters. They say it's impossible because each art needs the apprentice to give their all. The young man promises he won't let the elders down since they trust him so much, and with a happy smile, the girl agrees to the deal and takes the horned man away to demand answers. Jaimu watches her and comes to see that the Holy Lady has a kind heart. A young man steps forward to help her practice her cultivation, but she feels too shy and says they'll talk about it later. An elder wraps him up in a sash, tells him to stop wasting time and start training, and as he's led away, he warns Sister Lu to watch out for Long Tianxiang, who might get up to no good. The crowd stood silent and still, watching as the sect master led the boy far away from them. While everyone else is calm, a boy is terrified and breaking out in a cold sweat. He is the demon who first took Jaimu, and now he fears he can no longer stay in the sect with his new status.